Now we are going to analyze, the Gemara is going to analyze the din of Rav Huna. It's going to ask some questions and give some answers to clarify the view or the opinion of Rav Huna. So again, Rav Huna says that if you're buying, tells the Avankri, if you're buying Hadassim, if you're buying some of the Arba Minim from non-Jews, have them cut it so that there can be Yush in their hands and Shini Rishus when it comes into your hands. So Frek the Gemara asks, why have the non-Jews cut it? Even if the Avankri cuts it, that begins the process of Yush because it's no longer part of the Karka. And then when they go on and resell it to the Yid that's performing the mitzvah with it, we have Shinei Rishus. So who cares if the Avankri cuts it? We still have Yush and Shinei Rishus by the time the mitzvah happens. So answers the Gemara, well, that's true when speaking of when the Avankris are reselling it to other people. But Rav Huna was telling this to the Avankri with regards to the Hadassim that they were going to be using themselves for the mitzvah. So if not for the fact that the non-Jews were cutting it, there would not be Yush and Shinei Rishus. The Gemara then says, still, let the Avankri cut it, and they would still become the owners. How? By binding it. If they bind the lulav with the other arba, with the two of the other arba minim, with the Hadassim and the Arabis, so excuse me, they're talking here of the Hadassim. So once they bind the Hadassim with the lulav and the Arabis, there's a Shinei Ma'isa. So they become the owners. Why do they need the Goyim to do it for them? So answers the Gemara, either Rav Huna holds that lulav ein sarich eged, which means that lulav does not need to be bound, so that Hadassim will not end up being bound. So there is no Shinei Ma'isa, or even if he holds that sarich eged, that it does need to be bound, this is not a real Shinoi Ma'isa, because this is what we call a Shinoi HaChoizer Libriyasai. It's a change that is only temporary, it reverts back to its original state, because it can easily be untied. So this is not a Shinoi Ma'isa, and therefore there's no Kinyan here, so that's why you need the guy to do it, so that they can give it to you, so there's Shinoi Rishos. Says the Gemara, but still, there's Shinoi Shem. What is the Shinoi Shem? Before it was called an Aso, which is a Hadas, and now it's called a Hishaina. Hishaina is the name referred to the Arba Minim, or any part of the Arba Minim. So again, the Avankris will become the owners, and they can then use it. So says the Gemara, no, there's no Shinoi Shem, because it was always referred to by the name Hishaina. As Rashi explains, it's because of its eventual use, because eventually it would be used as Hishaina, so they were always referred to it as Hishaina, so it's not as if the name changed. Now we have to understand Rashi, because as we said earlier, according to Rashi in one explanation, the concern of Rav Huna was a concern of mitzvah b'avera. So we didn't want the Avankri to be the one that cut it, because if he cuts it, he's the one who performs the avera, and then even if it belongs to him, even if we say Yush itself is enough, we still need Shinei Rishus to get it out of his hands, because we cannot have the one who performed the avera doing the mitzvah with it. So the question then is, then how does the Gemara suggest that the Avankri should be koined either through Shinei Ma'isa or through Shinei Shem? Who cares? He is the one, they're the ones that have cut it, therefore they're the ones who stole it. So even if it is theirs, if it does belong to them, it's still a mitzvah b'avera. Why is the Gemara not concerned about that? And Rashi does not explain it for us. So how does the Gemara work according to this explanation of Rashi that we're worried about mitzvah b'avera? How do we remove that concern? So says the Maharsha, that being that according to this explanation of Rashi, we hold that Yush Kedin, that Yush itself is enough. And the only problem is that you still need to have Shinei Rishos to remove the mitzvah b'avera. So says the Maharsha, that if the person already made the kinyan, because the Yush was enough. So as soon as it was Yush, the kinyan was made. That kinyan came through an avera. So at that point, it's a mitzvah b'avera. But then when there's a Shinoi Ma'isa or a Shinoi Shem that follows, it's like another act of kinyan. And that act of kinyan does not involve an avera because it's already stolen. He's not stealing it then. It was already his through the Yush. So the avera was already done. So this second act of kinyan, either the Shinoi Ma'isa or the Shinoi Shem, has an effect that it makes this as if it's almost like a new item. It permits the hadas to be used. it's almost like a barrier, and it cuts off the tie to the Avera, and now it's not considered an item that is Baba Avera. It's a big Kiddush, but that's the way the Maharsha explains Rashi. Should also note one more thing, which is that why is it that throughout the sugya we're not concerned at all about buying stolen goods? We're saying the guy maybe stole it. So we're giving eitzes to be yotzei the mitzvah. Why are we allowed to buy it in the first place? Presumably it's because it's only a suffix. The Ritva mentions a similar type of svara to deal with not exactly this question, but a similar question, and perhaps that's why we're not concerned. Rav Huna was only saying, if you want to be makayim the mitzvah, do it in this way. Not that you have to stop buying from them full stop.